I wanted to take this moment to apologize because at one point on this channel, I came to the defense of one of the worst rising grifters on this platform. That is the N word lady herself, Lilly Gaddis.
Yes, they are probably gold diggers, but that's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass.
Now, listen, at the time, my defense wasn't exactly of her, but of a principle, that being context matters. And I was simply arguing that at the time, when folks say phrases that are typically considered offensive or taboo, that we should stop and consider the context in which they are uttering these phrases and not be reflexively offended. And of course, after an assessment period, act accordingly. For example, if a person says the N word, then the first thing we should do is stop and think, do we really believe that they said this with the intention of being racist or demeaning or denigrating others? And if we feel that they are, then we treat them accordingly as a person who has ill intent. But if we feel that they aren't, and we believe that their intention was not to offend, then we could, of course, recommend to them that maybe you don't say it, but also we don't blow it out of proportion because we know their intention was not to be offensive. Now, this is the extent to which I defended her. And this video right here is actually very important because I want to make clear that though I stand by the general content and message of my previous video, the subject couldn't have been a worse person. You see, this is why I don't personally care if she called some of y'all broke ass niggas. Because look, if you're the type of guy she's talking about, then yeah, maybe you should feel offended because she was talking about you. But if you feel offended because you think she's racist, because she used the word that we all use in the same context that we use it, then guys, I think at this point, we're just being ridiculous. And let me reiterate, context matters. I know I've said it 1,000 times already, but like I said, I believe it's the only rule and it's the one thing that truly matters in all of this. I mean, she is so bad. She even invalidated some of the points I made at the time. The internet is undefeated. The internet never forgets. And I think I'm going to have to hold this L. I guess that's what I get for trying to be nuanced on the internet.
You stupid.
Because what I didn't see, because at the time I was reacting to the content of the clip and not the content of the character of the creator who really wasn't anyone at that point, was the added context that this woman would go on to build an entire career off of doing edgy, race baiting content with the sole purpose of worsening racial divides and cultural differences under the guise of free speech. And look, you can say, well, wasn't she doing that in the first clip? And in hindsight, I have to say, I mean, you'd be right, but please offer me a little grace because at the time, she didn't have an entire library of content doing this nonsense, and neither was I out here checking for in the first place. And so to get you up to speed of some of the things she's been up to in recent times, let's cringe alongside this next video together. Now, before we proceed, I just want you guys to be very, very clear here. This is not a test. This is not AI. This woman actually decided to dress up as a black woman in blackface on Halloween. Again, we're going to cringe through this together.
What? Black women, you tear your hair out by the roots. You put every sort of chemical on your hair to straighten it out, despite being so proud of being black. And then you wonder why you have alopecia. And then you guys fight all the time. And yet you wear massive hoop earrings, you wear weaves in your hair, you wear fake eyelashes, wear fake nails. All of these things are not conducive to fighting, okay? So let me give you advice. Let me turn this racist stream around into something positive. Okay, black women, listen up. Listen up. A black woman is speaking.
All right. We're done. I'm gonna I gotta stop it right there. I think I might die from internal cringe watching someone this stupid go off on their YouTube channel in blackface. I mean, how ridiculous of a person can you be? I think what makes her even worse is the fact that she's not even particularly good in her grift, right? Like the other folks in her space of right-wing grifting, like Nick Fuentes, for example, they're at least smart enough to not be as overt in most cases with their racism, especially when asked directly to respond or clarify. But her, no. She's a different type of stupid. When given the opportunity, especially on the main stage, she doubles and triples down in her racism and wears it as a badge of honor.
A disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the N-word, first at a young child, and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity, does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. And so I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything you've just said. She's just a racist. End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about
Well,
white
it's about
people
her.
coming together and supporting another white person. And it doesn't matter.
Why
what
would you
she
want to
says.
support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
Yeah,
if you
that's
have...
fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say.
Obviously, like, these folks act like you could just say free speech and that means you can say whatever you want with zero consequences. We'll get into that a little bit more later on in the video, but let's just wrap up the thought here.
I mean, would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
I do, quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, but if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different
Sorry, but just to be
kind of
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist?
Correct.
In the current era, unfortunately, people like her are actually rewarded for that type of nonsense. Like the woman that they were speaking about in that clip there, Shiloh Hendricks, was actually rewarded over $750,000 in donations after she called a kid the N-word at a park. So, I mean, I guess in a way we can say that we are at least appreciative of the fact that she is honest about how she feels, because it makes it that much easier to have absolutely no sympathy for the fact that her YouTube channel was demonetized and that was her sole form of income.
The tragedy of today that we are going to be talking to is not about black people attacking more whites on the trains. Shockingly enough, we are actually going to get to talk about something different. I know that that's a common thread that seems to be happening all the time, but today, you know what's happening? They're trying to keep a real down. They're trying to keep a real down. That's what they're trying to do because they cannot handle the truth. And this is just the facts. When you come speaking the truth about certain things, if you're raising racial awareness, let's say, if you are, heaven forbid, pro-white or a pro-white voice out there, which I am, which I always will be, and will always influence my content no matter what it is, they will try to keep you down.
The reason why people like her are the absolute worst is because they sit around and cry all day about free speech and the Matrix attacking you and all this other nonsense when they fail to acknowledge that though you have the freedom of speech, you do not have the freedom from consequences of that speech. If the entire purpose of your channel is to worsen racial tensions, capitalize off of racial divides, and simply contribute negatively to the social discourse, then you really can't be upset when YouTube decides that they no longer want to cut a check to your low-tier grift. You aren't out here on some noble cause or a thought leader encouraging people to have challenging discussions with themselves and within their communities. At the end of the day, simply put, it was on some bullshit. So in terms of your current financial situation, just put the fries in the bag, bro. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's TheJespective. What's yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you have not already, and subscribe, as I got much more content like this on the way. So until next time, YouTube, peace.